Well, hey, everybody. Welcome in. I am in a completely different setup tonight. I had some technical difficulties, let's just say, right before the show started tonight. So I still have my co-host, my guest, Barry Littleton, here with me tonight, and we're going to be talking about the Brown Mountain Lights. Now, those are in North Carolina, and this is one of the most popular things, the most requested remote viewing targets that I've probably ever had, at least in the past few months. A lot of people, I don't know if there's just a lot of people from North Carolina that watch my show, or it's just an anomaly that a lot of people are wondering about. We're going to look into this tonight. I've remote viewed the Brown Mountain Lights in North Carolina. And some people call them ghost lights, orbs. They look like snakes going through the mountains. It's really, really weird. Okay. I've never been there. I've never experienced it myself. But they've been seen for over 100 years now. Okay. So you guys, please bear with me tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm on my cell phone. Okay. Like I said, I had some technical difficulties, and I'm going to try to pull up your comments tonight. This is going to be fun with my friend Barry Littleton. Let's see if I can pull him up, and we're going to get this show started, everybody. All right, what's up, Barry?
Hey, what's happening? You can see me. I just had a technical difficulty myself, and all right. Oh wow.
You know what? I actually, like, tonight, I'm not, my computer, the video doesn't come in so clearly. So like, you guys are going to see all my wrinkles tonight. I'm a little upset, but it's all good. That's the only thing I'm worried about tonight. But
I'm no spring chicken.
Oh yeah. You know, it's a full moon, full moon brings weird stuff. So technical difficulties, but yeah, this is, the Brown Mountain Lights, Barry. Have you ever heard of the Brown Mountain Lights before?
Yeah. I used to get them confused with the Mafia lights that are where is that in Nevada, but they're kind of another one of those light phenomenons. Yeah.
Those in Texas, yeah.
Yeah, some similarities there. So I heard of it, but I think that the brown lights are even a little more numerous, aren't they? What they see out there, I think there's more numerous.
I think so. Yeah.
Flashing and stuff. So. Yeah.
But you know what? I didn't know the first thing about the Brown Mountain Lights at all, and until I remote viewed it, and now I know everything about the Brown Mountain Lights. And so, if anybody in this watching this tonight or tomorrow, whenever y'all are watching this, if you'd like to see my raw remote viewing data, go to the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon. You guys can sign up for my Patreon. You get full access to all of my data for this target and for all my other targets. So please do that. I think I can pull up comments tonight. This is going to be fun. All right. This is all new for me, being on my cell phone tonight. but yeah, Barry, I did 2 targets for this one. Okay. I did 2 targets, and I sent you all the data. I can't wait to hear what you think about it, because it was kind of mind blowing. That second target that I did on this blew my mind. And I want to, first of all, give a little bit of history behind the Brown Mountain Lights tonight. And I know, Barry, you've done shows, you've done a video on the ghost lights before. I've personally experienced orbs, many orbs. Even recently, I've experienced some orbs. I think we're going to get a good idea of what these lights are tonight, Barry. I think, between you and I. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start. Are we ready? Are we ready, everybody? And thank you, everybody that's in chat tonight. I'm glad you guys are here. And like I said, this is going to be interesting because I am on my cell phone tonight. Okay. Okay. So around 1912, people started reporting lights around Brown Mountain, North Carolina. And some say that they were being seen around the 1800s, the late 1800s. But they weren't published like in the newspaper before around 1912, I believe. Now, what is really interesting is that there is a person who wrote a novel in 1906 excuse me, called the Master of the World. His name was Jules Verne. And excuse me.
The old Captain Nemo, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah.
Something like that. Yes. So he told of a mad scientist. It was called Master of the World. He told of a mad scientist constructing an airship inside his secret lair in Table Rock near Morganton, North Carolina. All right, excuse me. All right, so activities which cause strange lights to appear on the summit of the mountain. Now, is this predictive programming, Barry? That's what I want to know. Or did he know something that the rest of us didn't know? That's the real question. The rapidly expanding electrification of the Linville Gorge area from the 1890s through the 1910s seems to be the origin of the Brown Mountain Lights. Excuse me. Possibly helped by Verne's novel. So, I'm sorry. I don't have my mute button tonight. So I can't mute.
That's all right. No, take a drink of something. Don't sweat it.
Oh yeah.
I can always chatter if you need me to.
It is one of those nights.
Kill your audience, bore your audience out.
It's one of those days, Barry. I don't even care anymore. I'm throwing caution to the wind. I'm just gonna cough on camera tonight. Okay, and but yeah. So as in this guy's novel, the locals of the area, which was actually in this novel, they asked Congress for a government investigation into these weird lights that were going on this mountain, Barry. And by weird lights, I'm going to show you guys some pictures tonight. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so this is Brown Mountain. Okay, Brown Mountain. Oops. Hold on one second. Let me hide that comment. Okay, this is Brown Mountain in western North Carolina. And these are some of the lights. Okay, now I can't say I have not seen those lights. I've seen lights just like that while we were out doing Bigfoot field research. Okay, this is another one. This is what they look like up close. They look like a sphere. An orb. Okay, an orb. Here's some more pictures of the lights. And here's some more, and they move. It depends on the shutter speed, I suppose, but they're not just on the ground, they're in the air. Okay, so they're also in the air and they're in the woods. Okay, this is kind of like the orbs that we see with my team when we're out in the field. We see orbs that are floating amongst the trees, through the trees and around the trees. Okay, we also have pictures like this. Okay, now is this from the shutter speed or is this what it looked like? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. You know, we got the snake. It looks like a dragon. Okay, that's an up close picture of that. So let's just say this is kind of weird, right? It's a little bit weird, but it's not unusual because my team experiences stuff like this when we're out doing Bigfoot field research. But back in 1913, the government sent someone out from the United States Geological Survey, I guess, organization or agency named D.B. Sterrett to investigate these lights at Brown Mountain. And he claimed that headlights of the Southern Railway's locomotives were responsible. Okay, so he was saying that it was like trains. And it was cut and dry. He was like, no, it was that. So in 1916, a flood in the area caused train activity in Brown Mountain to cease for several weeks, and the lights were still there. Okay, they came up regardless. So there was a person who owned a hotel in the area who was it actually was good for him because the people who stayed at his hotel could see the lights, okay, from the hotel. So they were it was kind of like a selling point, right? Where they were like, oh, you can see these Brown Mountain lights from my hotel, so come on in. But they said they could still see the lights, even though the trains weren't going through that area. Okay. So locals called his investigation inadequate. They were like, nope, it's inadequate. This, couldn't be. And so another man was called in. His name was Mansfield. His last name was Mansfield. He set up a telescope near the hotel and recorded a number of nighttime lights, which appeared to move around in the evening. So they weren't just stationary lights, Barry. They were moving all around the place. And yeah, it was almost like he was trying to claim that it was the Southern Railway train as well. And so he didn't believe they were anything other than the trains. Okay, there was always an explanation for them, and it went from locomotive headlamps to train headlights to even electricity that had been introduced around that area at the time. Okay, so electricity had been I don't know the year that around the 1912 or a little bit after that, electricity was kind of introduced to the area. So yeah, they were nothing. They both claimed they were nothing but electrical lights. Okay, but the locals were like, absolutely not. And guess what, Barry? These things continue to be, to show up to this day. To this day, like I've heard so much about the brown lights from even people on my Bigfoot research team, that they are still there, and nobody knows what they are. I think I might have a good idea of what they are now from remote viewing it. But there were people that claimed that they were ghosts. Okay. There's a ghost story about a woman and her child that were murdered on Jonas Ridge community back in 1936. And there were other ghost stories as well. And some are about Revolutionary War soldiers and Civil War ghosts. Okay. And so people think they could be ghosts. All right. Another possibility, Barry, UFOs, of course, right? UFOs. The UFO movement began around the mid 20th century, so like 1950s, around here. And there was a man in the area who lived in the vicinity of Brown Mountain. And his name was Ralph Lill. And he used to display what he claimed was a mummified alien on his rock shop, like in his rock shop in the area. And he self-published a book detailing his claimed extraterrestrial encounters on Brown Mountain and his trip with the aliens to their home planet of Venus in 1965. So this guy who lives around Brown Mountain claimed that he had actually, I don't know if it was abducted. He seems like he wanted to go. Okay, so I don't know if I can actually say that was an abduction. He wanted to go to, he went to Venus, he said, with these aliens. Okay, so in the early 1900s, there were songs written about Brown Mountain lights, and I mean, this is a big deal for the locals around there. Big locals, a big local legend, legends and lore, right? When you hear something about a local legend and some lore, usually there's some truth to it, and there's some high strangeness in that area, and it doesn't all just have to be that one piece of high strangeness. Usually it is a lot of high strangeness of all sorts. Now, in recent years, this is about 10 years ago, Appalachian State University, which I believe is near Asheville, I think, I'm not sure, but I think it's around Asheville, not too far from there. They installed 2 low light cameras on rooftops that overlook the Brown Mountain. And they produced over 6,300 viewing hours worth of data without any explainable lights being recorded. Now, that's explainable lights, Barry. That's not to say they didn't get lights. That's explainable lights. Okay. So this is quite the anomaly. Okay. It's quite the anomaly. It's not unlike stuff that I have not experienced already doing research out in the field. But yeah. So Barry, I have remote viewed it, and I know you've seen my data. Tell me your thoughts on this before we get into the data.
In this case, I think I'd rather you go over the data. and then we go from there. And the reason why I say that, because I think we're dealing with multiple explanations for orbs themselves and for what these might be. So I'd rather stick with the data, and then we'll kind of branch out from there. Does that make sense, kind of?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm trying to catch up on some of these comments. I'm never going to do it. Okay, I'm never going to get there. So let's just get into it. Okay, so yeah, this is all brand new for me. But listen, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And my computer is not working at the moment, so we're using my phone. We're here, right? We're here, and that's all that matters. So I apologize if I don't get to all the comments tonight, but thank y'all for being here.
It's like my partner always says, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. It's just
I got some broken eggs. They're cold and broken over here. Okay. But it's okay. Hey, the funny thing is my computer is like, kind of screwing up and kind of being wonky on me anyway. So this might even be better. Who knows, my angels have me, whatever. We're going to get through it. Okay. So with my first target, Barry, I picked up that I remote viewed the Brown Mountain lights, period. Just like the Brown Mountain lights. I picked up that it was a natural occurrence. Okay. I didn't pick up on like UFOs and aliens and ghosts and all that kind of stuff. I did pick up on a supernatural element. I can't lie. I did towards the end. But at first it was more of stuff that had to do with the earth. Okay. It was something to do with the earth. It was some kind of, I didn't even pick up like electricity and things like that. It was just kind of vague. Like my first target was very vague. So therefore I had to do a second target because, and I waited a couple of days because that first one was very natural. However, and I'm going to probably get in trouble for this. So everybody, please say a prayer for me tonight. I did stumble upon an underground facility. Okay. As I always do, it seems like. Okay. So say an extra prayer for me tonight. I did pick up another underground facility at this place. Okay. And that was towards the end of that first target. Not to get into too much detail, but I was picking up on some of the technology that they use down there rising to the surface, let's just say. Okay. However, it was still a natural occurrence. Those lights I was picking up natural. Okay. So, yeah, how do you feel about that, Barry?
Well, my first question would be, this installation, was it run by humans or by someone else? This underground base.
I didn't pick up on that until my second target. Okay, so my first target, I just picked up on a facility. And like I said, if anyone would like to see my full remote viewing data, you can join my Patreon. It's all there. Both my targets are there. But I was picking up on something inside the mountain. There's something going on inside the mountains in North Carolina. Okay, in this area. And I have more information on Brown Mountain and what it consists of, what it's made of. We're going to get into that. Okay, and actually we could get into it now before I go to my second target, because it may have something to do with this. Okay, but there's something inside the mountain there, and it gets deep. All right, it gets deep, and it bleeds over into one of my former remote viewing targets from Alaska. Okay, Barry, and you actually may be familiar with the Dark Pyramid in Alaska. Okay, so let me just do a little rundown on Brown Mountain and give you some stats. Okay, Brown Mountain is one of the last formations as the Blue Ridge Mountains submit to the flat Piedmont region. It's in the Pisgah National Forest near Morgantown in western North Carolina. Brown Mountain is a small peak with a peak that runs along the horizon beside it. The peak is 2,750 feet, and the ridge is 2,600 feet. And it appears like an ordinary mountain during the daytime. A portion of the mountain is part of the Pisgah National Forest with only ATV, that's all-terrain vehicle trails. That's like four-wheelers and side-by-sides and things like that. Hikers can enjoy the trails, and there's a small patch of private property on the mountain side. There's a forest road, which is usually blocked off with a lock gate. Now, that is very typical of national forests. You know, I do a lot of, you know, roaming around the national forest. And a lot of times we go up there and the gates are locked. We can't get in. A lot of those areas are full of Bigfoots as well. Okay. So it makes you wonder, right? The backside of the mountain is very lush. It's full of mountain. Well, it's got ferns, mushrooms, moss, and the other signs of moisture, like moist life. Okay. Is what we're going to call it. Moist. I don't like that word, but moist. Okay. And as you go up the mountain, the moisture kind of disappears, like all the vegetation starts to disappear, and the trees kind of get like more dead looking and sparse. Some think that it could be from acid rain that they have in the area. Okay, so the mountain consists of interesting, right? Yeah, right. Okay, so it consists of ordinary cranberry granite, sandstone, quartz, mica, iron, and magnetite. Okay, so there's some very dense minerals and elements that are in the rock there. The area around Brown Mountain is a black bear reserve, so there's not a whole lot of action going on around there other than the wildlife. It's known to have a lot of copperheads. Like they really advertise that, like bears and copperheads. You know, don't come over here. You got bears and copperheads. And copperheads are one of the more deadly. I think they're like a pit viper. I'm pretty sure, like a rattlesnake. Maybe not. I have them at my lake. They're not cool. Okay, they're very dangerous.
Related to the water moccasin, I do believe. The
cottonmouth water moccasin, rattlesnake rattlers. Yes, I don't know. There's something like that. But it's very dangerous. So hikers are not really prone to like going around this mountain too much. And when they do go, there are lots of accidents where hikers and bikers, even, they say bikers, so I guess people on bicycles, they've died on this mountain because it's so dangerous. It's the side of the ridge is covered in slick rock faces, and it's very treacherous, especially when it's rained and when there are wet leaves or leaves at all. Okay, so it's very difficult to navigate. So what does that tell us? There's not going to be a lot of people on this mountain. Okay, and if anybody's going to go up into this mountain and try to play games and play tricks, they got to really go out of their way to do this. Okay, and it reminds me of one of my first experiences when I was out doing Bigfooting. And I had my partner and I we teamed up and we went out to this field where we had some Bigfoot activities, some perhaps cloaked Bigfoot activity the night before, and he and I sat out there for hours and hours and hours, okay, trying to get some activity of Bigfoot, and UFOs started showing up. But we didn't know these were UFOs at first, okay, because Barry, what he and I both saw was a light, much like the Brown Mountain lights that showed up in the tree line. And then it came over the tree line, and it was an orb of light. But we were thinking with our rational brains that this was a headlight for a car, right? It was, and then we were like, well, there's no trail there for a car to be riding on. So it has to be a person holding a lantern. Okay. And so I got to tell you, this is probably what these people see here. And going back and having that experience, we did remote view it. It actually was a UFO. It was a spacecraft that we were looking at. However, in my data, I did not pick up on UFOs or spacecrafts at all. So if you'd like to get in the second target now, we'll go there. Okay.
Go ahead.
Because because it's very interesting that like we did have a UFO experience with that orb that we saw. But what I picked up on Brown Mountain, it was more, I don't know. It had something to do. It's kind of all over the place, Barry. Because I was picking up on a natural occurrence, but I was also picking up on something that was very mechanical, but I felt like it was coming from the mountain. Okay. So I was picking up that it was coming from the mountain, from the inside of the mountain. I was picking up on charged ions and electric ionospheres. I don't know what any of this means. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a geologist. And so I can't really say what this stuff is, but it was some kind of particle explosion. It was some kind of something to do with, I don't know, Tesla. Okay. I came up like I was picking up on like Tesla electricity. Okay. And I know that sounds really, really weird, right? But there was I kept hearing there's a scientific explanation for this. Okay, which is interesting because the two scientists that they sent out to investigate this both said that it was the trains, right? So knowing what we know, Barry, about all these underground bases and these secret projects that go on, we don't know how long these secret projects have been going on. What if those scientists were sent out by the government? They knew something that they didn't want to get out. What are the chances of that?
Go ahead, keep going. I'm just listening here. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I was
very interesting, and when you get done, I'll say why. Fascinating.
Okay. Okay, so I went from picking up on these things being very electrically charged, like these lights, and being natural, but also being from something that came from the earth as a result of what's going on in the mountain. Okay, and I picked up on another underground base. Okay, on my second target. I can't get around these things, y'all. I'm sorry. I can't get around it. When I stumble upon something, I write it down. Okay, and there was definitely, excuse me, an underground base and a facility, and it's part of a network. Okay, it's part of a network, and like I said, y'all pray for me. Okay, but there's a tunnel. There's workers there. There's it's some kind. I'm not going to say it's even government. I can't say it was government. I didn't pick up on anything government, but there's a facility down there. And there's something with free energy, Tesla, energy ball. I was picking up energy balls. Okay, so I actually do have some pictures here. And I'm going to show you guys what I saw.
High energy plasma. You picked that up?
It was stuff like that. I was picking up on that. This has something to do with what those lights are. Okay. And I picked up on Tesla, energy, electricity with Tesla, free energy, something like that going on under these mountains. and Barry, I picked up on pyramids. Okay, I picked up on an ancient pyramid. Okay,
inside the mountain.
With the mountain is a pyramid.
I'm sorry. Under the mountain and the mountain itself, or also underground. You said pyramids.
It's a pyramid, one pyramid.
Just the mountain itself. Gotcha.
Yes, I picked up on a pyramid, and when I was looking today for pictures to show up for tonight for our show, I came across a picture of Nikola Tesla understanding the energy and the reason behind the pyramids. And harnessing the energy of the pyramids, okay, of the Giza pyramid, okay, the Great Pyramid. And so, how is this a coincidence? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, why would all this come up in my data? And I have Tesla, energy ball, pyramids, ancient pyramids, the Dark Pyramid. And for a lot of you guys who watch my remote viewing investigation show, my friend Tanya and I both remote viewed the Dark Pyramid in Alaska. And it's an energy generator. Okay. And that is what I picked up on the Brown Mountain. Okay. I picked up something very similar. from the Brown Mountain with my remote viewing data. I don't know. And I also kept hearing, look closer, look closer. So there's more to this, okay? But this is the overall gist of it. And the lights have something to do that's within that mountain, okay? And I did 100% pick up on something that's going on underneath it. Now, I can also tell you that there's a place called Cashers, North Carolina. Okay. And I spent a whole weekend up there with some Native American friends of mine who are part of the Cherokee tribe up there, and good friends of mine. And I spent the weekend up there about 10 years ago, and we watched the spaceships over Cashers all weekend. And we were riding through the area, and they showed me a mountain. They assumed, I think they know. They assumed, they said that's where there's a military installation in that mountain right there. I remember them telling me that. I very vividly remember that, saying that they suspect that there's some kind of entrance to like a base or something. And I don't know how close that Cashers is to where Brown Mountain is. I didn't look at the map, so I'm not sure, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is all connected. So. Yeah. Tell me your thoughts now, Barry.
Well, for starters, it covers two bases. First, which would be earth lights, swamp gas, ball lightning, these type of natural phenomenons, okay, that I think are being somewhat enhanced by the technology present there. And what I personally find really interesting, and I'm trying to keep this away because when dealing with like these orbs themselves and the origin of some of these orbs, it can be different. Some of them can be high energized plasma, like what we already talked about makes some crop circles, a lot of them. Okay. And then also the fact that the orb itself represents the quantum hologram. And we start dealing with these other civilizations that are using wormholes as actually their power source and method of travel. They're actually generating that quantum hologram, that copy on it. And then when doing multidimensional transport, or interdimensional transport, a lot of times the orb form will be used as like a Merkaba. So in that way, it can be a UFO also. And to think that some of the more advanced civilizations that have these orbs, actually, that's what they appear in this dimension, but in the other dimension, it's something entirely different. Thus, somebody seeing, a big, huge being, a reptilian, getting sucked up in an orb like this. So that's just that's I think that's one area of this. But I want to go, excuse me, somewhere a little deeper than that. And it's slightly different what you described, though. But I'm seeing some similarities, and that would be Mount Adams, all right? And inside Mount Adams is this device. And, I think I mentioned this before on here, but when I went out to speak at Mount Adams the first year in 2016, I'm not a young man, and I thought I was past the point where I've seen have these experiences that just stop my world. And that's what happened. My world got stopped like a lot out there the first time I went out there, to a point of where I had a bunch of experiences, but more than that, I kept feeling like I don't sleep much or well. So I felt like the little bit I was sleeping out there was inside the mountain, or something was happening on top of all this other stuff. So before I get invited out there to speak in 2017, and so much stuff happened to me the first time I was out there, the first year, I went and got a deep theta, almost delta regression to find out exactly what I was dealing with. I don't like walking into stuff, not knowing what you're going into. But during this regression, I distinctively saw this device inside that mountain. And this device is a crystalline type of structure that is actually producing orbs. It's an orb technology too.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes, and
Wow.
this thing. Okay, so going a step forward, I couldn't get over this. All right, then a
Okay.
few weeks before going out there to speak in 2019, I see John Vivinko, another remote viewer, put up this video called "Remote Viewing the Ancient Aliens of the Ascetti Ranch," and his team started describing this crystalline thing in the mountain, exactly what I had seen. So taking this a step forward, there's a book by J.J. Hurtak, The Keys of Enoch. All right, and I don't know how to share this picture, but in this book, there's a picture of something they call an OR station, OR station, and I'll quickly read you what it says about OR station in this book. All right, OR station. Network centers for the docking of technology from advanced civilizations capable of travel between galaxies and super galaxies. But in reality, what this device is doing, all right, and what I had seen it doing in my regression was it scans the soul, the life memories of the people near it. Okay, and once it scans that and it produces something with this orb technology that pushes your perception forward. And you got to remember, when it comes to these orbs, it's not just the ones we see. There's one that's invisible, microscopic, that can get in our energy field and alter our perception. This is real
Yeah.
serious, you know. And I'll taking it a step forward, and then so I'm seeing this, and I got with John and actually showed him the picture in this book. And I'm sorry, I've got it on here, but I don't know how to share it. So anybody that goes on Facebook, type in Barry Littleton and OR station, and I just tagged you in it, Jessica, and it'll
Thank
bring up the
you.
pictures from this book. Okay,
We'll
both
put
the
that.
definition and the picture of the OR station. And I was sitting with John long before we did that video, and his mouth was open, going, "Oh, this is it. This is the thing." And yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, saying that's so in that way, and I can even back up what I'm saying, that year in 2019 we had to do or was it 2017, whichever one it was 2017. I'm sorry, it was a sky watch. And look, no offense to anyone, but I'm not real into sky watches, because once you have a real encounters and those ships come too close and you're missing 4 or 5 hours of your life, it's really not that fun. You
Yeah,
know
you
what I
don't
mean?
want to
Even if
call
you have a
people that
positive
are going to
encounter.
abduct you. Yeah. If you're at risk of being abducted, you don't want to call those things in.
Yeah,
Trust me,
you
ask
don't
me
know
how
who's
I
on
know.
board.
Yeah,
You don't know who's
totally.
on board. You better do some serious protections before.
Yes.
But yeah. So anyway, so we do this sky watch, and for mine, I never had done one before. Like I said, not into it, but I wanted to try something. So before we talk to everybody and you go out in the field, I had everybody do a pineal gland exercise, a pranayama breathing of science. It's a very interesting looking technique, but for me, it's the most effective one I've ever had for decalcifying the pineal gland. And what's cool about these conferences is you've got the attendees. A lot of them are mediums and psychics, the majority of them. So that makes it for an
Right.
interesting place. I do this pineal gland technique. First of all, it looks really ridiculous to demonstrate, but it is what it is. And right
Sure
after
was
that,
very.
Jessica,
I want
okay,
to
a
see
lot of
it.
these people going, I see a grid. I see a grid. A lot of people saying that, like over 10 people. And that,
Okay.
that that right there, I knew, okay, it's this field of energy being produced by this thing inside Mount Adams. That people see orbs going in and out of it,
Okay,
UFOs going in and out of the mountain. There's something that's like a dimensional door glowing there, a circle, you
I
know.
can I can say from experience that would be something that a being could come in and out of, interdimensional beings. I I may or may not have experienced something like that before. Not to get it personal or whatever, but with our research that we do, it's really interesting. Some of the things that I've seen on Stranger Things, that show on Netflix. I only watched the first season of that, but some of their artwork actually will tell you it shows you real life and like what's going on. They have some of their artwork that has like red grid systems and stuff like that 1980s vibe. That's real. That's real stuff. I'm just
1980s.
gonna say that's real stuff. That's real life. That's what the end of I guess a wormhole looks like. The beginning of like a portal, maybe of something.
Yeah.
So
And,
there's
and
something
like
to it.
like at Mount Adams, you've got what I just described, but also like what John said that his team saw, that in that portal in the middle of the mountain that people see at night, you've got thousands of entities from the other side all trying to squeeze through at once. And when they actually get through, those that are able to squeeze through, like you and me putting our head through a ketchup bottle, emerge in this dimension in spherical form, in orb form, collective conscious. There's something, some sort of a law between there and here when you it's very, very interesting, you know, but taking that and kind of taking that device, and that left me wondering how many of these devices are still functioning, because they're from type 1 civilization that they don't want to admit we've been. The past is much more advanced than where we are now. You know, there are these objects that we here.
Absolutely.
Yes. You know, I suspected maybe Mount Shasta might be one. Mount Kaligash in Tibet, I suspect that might be one. I think you're talking about one here, but this sounds slightly different.
Pisgah.
And we have these installations like this orb technology, this orb station, and things that are similar that may have been either one, altered by dark forces, or three, what they call crypto-terrestrials right here on Earth. You know, Mac Tooney's that guy that wrote that book, Crypto-terrestrials, and then he like died right after that. But check out what he was saying about the beings that lived right here on Earth with us, and all they use as a decoy is extraterrestrial stuff. Keep us looking out there instead of right here in Earth.
It's all right here. And, you know, and a lot of these remote viewing targets that I've done, like the Giant of Kandahar, for instance, things like that, it's all here. We got a lot of inner Earth stuff going on. I mean, it's almost like there's a whole other world inside of our Earth. I don't know. Like I said, y'all say a prayer for me. I don't know. I keep coming over, like stumbling upon these underground facilities and people down there working. And I didn't pick up on ETs down there, but I also didn't pick up on humans. It's nondescript. I don't know who's working down there. I just picked up on workers. It literally says workers on my data. Down in the tunnels, there's a tunnel system down there that goes throughout those mountains.
You know,
yeah. First of all, wait, beforehand, like Craig, low range overlander. Thank you so much, Craig. He's a part of my team. He's a part of my research team. Thank you for that super chat. You're amazing.
Is the one that I met in Georgia, or did I meet him?
You met Keith in Georgia. I don't think you met Craig, but yeah, you met Keith. So yeah, thank you, Craig. You're the best. But yeah, it's the workers down in the tunnels, Barry, nondescript. We don't know who they are. But I mean, I can go back and look, but now they know I'm looking.
Maybe you should. I mean, how much of that is connected to like something that Phil Schneider was talking about, opposed to something that's been going on here for thousands of years? These installations, some of them aren't anything new. You know what I mean? That pyramid, that dark pyramid that you're talking about isn't anything new. And I have past life memories of a sect of individuals that would have been called initiates that had these black pyramids and these things we call Vanta Black now, and things. It was dark activity using those technologies that actually transmit physical into energy and energy into physical, almost like a transporter, but they're fueled by the intention of the initiates that are operating the devices. They're Kundalini. And when you've got those selfish type of vicious vibrations, it takes that technology and turns it awry. You know what I mean? That's a problem. That's been great destruction here on this planet based on that alone. You know, and I would reference the movie The Never Ending Story. As 80s as it was, the main nemesis in that movie was what? It wasn't the rock guy. It wasn't the dog looking flying dog. It was the nothing.
Leyu. Was it a Leyu?
It was the nothing. The nothing was dissolving Fantasia from nothing, from being a physical thing into nothingness, into energy. Something like that happened on this planet. You know, that force going awry like that. And maybe look at some of the things that are some of the deserts in this world and some things that happened in the past. Anyway, just it's fascinating because this sounds like this is something that maybe people are trying to, you know, some force is putting with technology, Tesla technology that existed far before him. He was getting his information from other beings. That's been documented, you know. So I
Oh
know
yeah.
there's a great fascinating with that man, but that's cool. He's not the only one throughout history, especially we start dealing with melanated scientists that make that claim. Anyway,
Yeah. Well,
I'll sit up there, but I think it's interesting what you discovered there, and dangerous.
dangerous for me. Yeah.
Just because
It,
no one wants this mentioned, you know what I mean?
it is. It is. Well,
It's
okay.
easier to keep it as earth lights and simple stuff, man.
Exactly. Exactly. And it is dangerous, coming across some of these targets that I do. And I'm not trying to look for this stuff and expose it. That's not my agenda here. I'm just here trying to look into what the brown mountain lights are. I'm not trying to get into like underground facilities, but I've also picked up on this when I was asked to remote view a possible dog man that DA Robertson encountered at the Joe Bald Recreation Area in Missouri. There was a base there. When there's something else there in the environment, I can't help but come across it. Now, do I make it public? Well, I'm not. Yeah, I guess so, because I'm not trying to hide things from my viewers, and it has something to do with what's going on there. So I kind of feel like I have to talk about it. If I'm going to be open and honest about these remote viewing targets, I'm gonna give the real tea on it. You know what I'm saying? So
You
believe it
know,
or not.
I'm gonna chime in something. I'm looking at the comments here, and I'm seeing one from Midwest Night Watchers. You have to connect with these devices by your higher frequency consciousness in order for them to work. Not true. I've been around one. The truth is that they're working all the time scanning, but when you get certain people with not just a certain blood type, but with certain life memories, soul life memories, these things activate even more. They open up more, like what happened to me. You know what I mean? Or somebody that can actually generate portals with their own biofield. Whole nother thing going on. So we can't just say they're only working if somebody's out there meditating with their higher consciousness. No, they're operating independently of us.
Interesting
Just throw that
point.
out there. Somebody that's been
Yeah.
around one and been blasted by one of these things.
Yeah. Well, Barry, you've been had a lot of experience with this stuff, and this is something that you've experienced since you were a child. So I really appreciate your input on all of this, and that's why I love having you on as my co-host, my guest, my sidekick. Because you know a lot about the things that a lot of us experience. You've really been diving into what's really behind that stuff, and I really appreciate
it
that.
seems that way because it's on the internet, but I don't know that much. You know what I mean? Every time I learn something, then I get all these other questions.
Wait, that's not
You
true.
know,
I met you in person. It's just as interesting, okay?
thanks.
Yeah.
You know, it's really fascinating because when dealing with this type of technology, how many of them still exist on the earth, like I said, and how many of them are being tampered with, as far as military and things like that. Because, when I was out at that ranch, I had this experience with somebody else standing there. We see through this mountain, this UFO. It's called the Holographic Mountain. It's on my playlist on my YouTube channel under the SETI deal. But, that was really hard to handle. The holographic principle and all these things. That's another reason I had to get this regression. I wanted to know what I saw and why I couldn't tune into this ship exactly when it was there. I could a little, but not like I should have been able to. And then this whole thing happened, seeing through this mountain. And I'm sitting out there going, and me and this guy took saying, well, how the hell is it people live out here and they don't know that half of this isn't even what it appears to be? So during the regression, I looked inside that mountain. It's called Sleeping Lady on the other side of Mountain Adams. It looks like a lady laying down, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one at the top of it called Cat's Peak. So that right there, all right, is I saw a type of a crystalline, almost mica city in there.
Oh.
And I'm getting during this regression, I've got these beings telling me that physical beings like such as yourself can shadow the walls of the city by negative emotions and negative thoughts. So there's something else going on down there. And and James Gillian, so I shouldn't be really talking about this place, but screw it. I'm not going to hide what I've learned, man. All right. Gillian had told me that on the top of that mountain, Cat Speak are soldiers up there, and they've never known why they were up there. And that's where I saw
American military.
Yeah, he said there were soldiers stationed up there at the top of that mountain, and they didn't know why. But then, I see this UFO going down before I can see through the mountain. It goes down at the peak, and he said there were soldiers stationed at the peak up there, Cat's Peak or whatever.
Okay,
so they got to know about it, but I think there's some things they can't do anything about. Sorry.
Okay, so Barry, no, I have to say, guess where else they had soldiers stationed out in front of? The Dark Pyramid. The Dark Pyramid in Alaska.
In Alaska? Really?
Yeah. I didn't pick up on that at Brown Mountain. I didn't pick up on all that. Okay. I just picked up on something going on deep underground underneath that mountain. Yeah. But in the Dark Pyramid in Alaska, yes, there's military stationed all around it.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yeah. I love my life. I'm not suicidal. Okay.
Hey, she just put that up. Chiro Sounds. Hope I said that right. I would love to visit the city. You know what? I will tell you this. And, despite I had problems with somebody that was really connected to that place, big problems. All right. So that has to do with maybe the people that can be around that place. But, man, that place is sacred land. It's a really cool place to go. And if you get a chance to go check it out. I would really advise that. It's a real experience. That's sacred land, and it gives you a chance to kind of exercise traumas. If you have a trauma that you haven't dealt with, stay out there on that property 3 days. It'll bring it up and give you a chance to exercise it and move forward as a warrior. That's real. And if not, you don't like dealing. If you don't like dealing with trauma, that place will run you off in 3 days. I watched a lot of people run out of there and be gone.
Hey, we all need to deal with our trauma. Okay, and tonight we're still feeling that full moon vibe. So if you need to release tonight, this is a good night to release. Okay, let's journal. Let's get it all out. Okay, speaking of traumas. Okay, so yeah, and I'd like to go visit there too. It'd be a cool place to visit at least once. Just to see that holographic mountain you talk about. That's something I've always wanted to experience.
And not to mention the Sasquatch activity is off the charts. It's like my brother would say, he said, man, you didn't believe in no Bigfoot. As much weird stuff has happened to you until you went to that ranch.
Right.
Well, it is what it is, man. But I don't doubt it as much now. No doubt about that. And if I was getting hoaxed, let me tell you, they are out of control hoaxers. They're good. Because I creep around myself. You gotta really be creeping to creep on me.
Oh my God.
But you know that. We met in person, man. I sneak around a lot.
I know you. First time I met you was in person. So yeah. I know.
It was hard to sneak out there with bears everywhere.
Oh my God. Yeah, you have to be careful. Well, it's the same with doing the Bigfoot research and all that stuff. We got to be careful. Not only do they have hoaxers out there, we got bears and all this other stuff that can kill you. Okay, it can definitely kill you. Okay,
wow, you got some intelligent people making comments. Thumbs up. Wow.
I can't even believe I can actually pull the comments up tonight. I'm doing everything on my phone. I love it. I need to start. I'm going to be doing this more often. I like my phone actually for these shows. And the picture is more clear tonight too, so I like it. But anyways, okay, so back to the Brown Mountain Lights. Let's get back to the Brown Mountain Lights. My explanation according to my data is that it's a natural occurrence, but it has something to do with all of the activity going on inside the mountain, Barry. So from all your research of ghost lights, how would there be a connection with all of that? What do you think?
I think maybe that the technology that you're describing just, produces some of those energy flashes, which might be similar to how supposedly some of the entities inside Mount Adams are large enough that they have to expel energy. And that's why people see a flash of light over that mountain sometimes. It's them releasing that energy because they're being confined in there. So I don't know. Perhaps the technology makes it somewhat of a natural occurrences, but I think it's something else it's tapping into also. I think it's tapping into that quantum hologram thing, that orb technology. and it may be based on that and augmented technology, And what's
Yeah.
interesting, that there reminds me of also the things they call the worms that they've seen outside the planet, like
Yeah.
NASA pictures of the worms, and sometimes God, not rods, but similar to the rods type of thing. But some of the rods up close look similar to that, and
Wow.
the worms and too. It's very fascinating,
Right.
So it makes you wonder: are those things being produced like that? Whether it's a technology or not, are they sentient also?
Yeah. I didn't pick up on that. I did not. Well, I don't know. Natural could be anything. It could be or some kind of organic being. I never thought of it that way after reading all my data. So I just picked it was something natural. Um, I
I
was
wonder if the
my
Martha lights are similar. I bet you they're similar. Do you think?
probably, yeah, probably so. They did seem to be similar, and I did not get a chance to pull pictures of all those lights up, but they look very similar. I have to assume to these. Um, but yeah, I mean, I picked up that it was something very, very natural, but it just had something to do with all the charged ions in the air and in the ground, and it was something that was being, I want to say harnessed is the word that I keep hearing in my head, like harnessed, but by some kind of energy, the electricity that Tesla was coming up with, whatever that is. I don't even understand it. All I can do is tell you my data, but I can't explain it. So
And you said
I'm
that
not
you
sure.
felt at these bases, you felt a decisive non-human factor. Is that what you said? Non-human
I
or
said I said workers, or what did I say? Hold on, workers. I did I was feeling more human, to be honest with you, but it could be a mix. I don't know. I just was coming up with tunnel. Hold on, I read my data. Um, inter, something very ancient, very okay. Whatever's down there is very ancient. The mountain is ancient. Okay, the Appalachians
there you go.
are oldest mountain range in the world, right? I mean, it's very old down there.
See, there it is. There it is. That's it. See, that's just like Alaska. The
Yeah.
first reports about that is this technology that they're trying to restore or trying to recreate and back engineer. Same thing.
Oh
That
yeah.
makes much more sense when you say it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And looking even at more at those towers Tesla was trying to construct, I wonder what all ways they can be detected from space. Be very interesting
Do you say detected from space?
with satellites. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, isn't
that type of
everything kind of monitored by satellites?
well,
It,
they've got those things called, what is it, those micro satellites too, and all that stuff that that's a whole the nano satellites.
yeah.
There's a whole lot of stuff going on there that really trips me out. So I
Well,
don't
as
even
much
want to.
as our Earth is patrolled by satellites, and somebody knows every inch of this planet, I've got to say, just by satellites alone, you can't say somebody doesn't know about this stuff. Okay, there's people. This is being monitored. It's just being hidden from us, in my opinion. Okay, whatever's going on up there, it is known. This is my opinion. According to my data, there are people in charge somewhere who have programs going on underneath the ground in these mountains. There's some kind of facility in the mountain range, and it is causing some of this activity to occur with the brown mountain lights. Okay, that's my data. I'm sticking to it, and this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. And so everybody just take that to heart. It's entertainment purposes only. Okay. But it has something to do, and there is something to do with like the free energy thing and the energy that Tesla was harnessing. And he did know there was some secret of the pyramids as well. So why would that not be used in these mountain ranges as well? You know, um,
You just put something up there. Lurks a lot. Is that? Oh, it's gone.
oh, I'll
Lurk,
pull it back
lurk,
up.
lurks a light. That light flashes happens at Skinwalker also. Now,
Well, it happens out in the field when I do my Bigfoot field research. We get flashes all the time. And a lot of times it's when a Sasquatch will be in the area. Boom. I got an orb the other night when I was out in the field. An orb showed up. There was a blur, a flash, and then a like this loud huff. And it wasn't a bear. Okay. So.
I was going to say, I had met Erica Lukes, and she runs a UFO podcast thing, and she spent a lot of time at Skinwalker Ranch. I think she might even married one of the hands from there or something like that. But she had said on the last show I did with her, and before that, off the air, she had told me that she thought it was a government testing place, underground facility testing, and that was a lot of that going on out there. And what that person just said. It fits right in. All this stuff that these natural things, these old technologies, these things they're trying to back engineering, it's starting to get exposed. And that's what you're doing right now, is exposing some of that stuff, how much that has always been going on here. And, that Black Pyramid, the first time I heard about that, it's been like 10 years ago, by Linda Moulton Howe was the first person to report that. And they were saying that it was powerful enough to power all of Alaska. That one pyramid. So,
that's what we both, Tanya and I both picked up on that. And not only is it putting power out like this way from the top, it's pointed down in the bottom as well, like a Merkaba kind of. And so the energy is going down and it's going up. So who's to say that pyramid is not powering whatever's going on in these underground facilities down underneath the ground? It's just a thought. I don't know.
I believe people that remote view the Devil's Triangle and the Bermuda Triangle will find some of that dimensional anomalies are initiated by a pyramid that's reversed and under the sea. The apex is pointing down towards inner Earth.
Why not?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Solar magnetically charged crystals.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
I mean, the mountain is made of crystals, right? It's made of crystals, it's like granite and quartz. You know what I'm saying?
Granite has got those weird properties. The whole thing with granite, David Pauletti's has connected a lot of the granite with missing 411. It's fascinating. I never thought about it. Some of the weird properties of granite.
No, everywhere. Okay, so everywhere that I go to do Bigfoot field research and all the research that my teams do, I always bring home a pocket full of quartz. Okay, from everywhere I go, and I kind of label it, and I bring my son a piece of it home. I don't know why I do that. It's almost like that stone tape theory, it's like, well, it could have something bad behind it, and it's going to bring something like, I don't believe in curses and stuff like that. Like, I don't believe I'm going to be cursed if I bring a rock home, but there's something to it. Everywhere that we go to do our research, there's a lot of quartz in the ground, Barry. And I think that is a good conductor for all the supernatural activity that we have.
Well, Shirley MacLaine, when people got done laughing at her, what she said on Oprah about her having that ranch outside, I believe it's in New Mexico, and she said it was near the Caldera mine where all those crystals blew, and that she thought that the ships that they see over there so much are amplifying the energy from the crystals and the ground. Fascinating when she said that. People just laughed at her, but not really so funny,
Yeah. The truth is out there. Okay. The truth is out there. And I'm not going to say what my remote viewing data is true or not. I'm just telling you what I came up with. It doesn't mean that I'm right. Okay. It just means that it's just something to what do you call it? You can chew on it. Okay. You can chew on it, right? It's something to take and choose to do your own research on it. But it's just, I'm just putting the information out there that I did come up with in my data. I have been trained extensively in remote viewing for many years, and I stand behind all my data 100%. I would never not. Okay. But however, like I did say, this entertainment purposes only for the sake of this show and my channel. Okay. But who knows, Barry? There's so much out there, and I feel like we're uncovering it bit by bit, and show by show. We're starting to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, and we're seeing a lot of similarities with all these targets that we're doing.
Yeah, underground I can't even use the word. It's it's a dirty word.
Underground stuff.
Underground
Yeah.
F-E. That's what it is. I mean, all this. So far underground, we've got the island of Dr. Moreau laboratories. We've got Tesla technology being perverted. We've got, I mean, you name it. We've had all this stuff underground going on. And it almost just shows me more, because I asked them my first experiences about inner Earth and stuff. I try to find out, and they give me some information. First, starting with it not being the way that we think scientifically, that they're actually these chambers, and it's almost like honeycombed at a certain degree in the Earth going down. And it's in some of these honeycombs chambers that you have things like either large ships or large cities and stuff like that. So I think that maybe, and then it goes deeper into the biosphere and stuff like that. So, it's fascinating, but it kind of sucks. I mean, so far you've discovered beings being tortured in these factories underground, and we hear things like the dark forces, the ones that look like light beings, are moving around in some of these facilities. When Ed Dames remote viewed Satan and Lucifer, that's what he saw, that Satan was moving around, a light being moving around without a body, moving around in these factories, these installations here on Earth. So could those be underground or whatever? But there's a whole dark faction going on. And I'm hoping the exposure of this, like what you're doing, starts to change this place. This place is in trouble. And we're about to destroy our biosphere. They're trying to time shift us to a timeline of nuclear war. The Earth is going crazy with earthquakes again. Solar activity's up. This place is in trouble. So the crap has to stop and be exposed at some point. And I'm hoping that's the real shift of consciousness, the shift everybody's talking about. Because this will no longer be a prison planet, an island full of lost souls. Please,
that's right. More. Well, and that's why I do ask everyone who's watching tonight and who's watching the shows, please do pray for Barry and I. I'm serious. Put your protection around us. Like, we could really use it. We have a lot of protection around us as it is. But there's something to be said. I mean, I've gotten word that I'm on the radar at this point, and I already know that. And so just say a little extra prayer for us every now and then, you guys. And because we are out here to, I'm not here to just expose all this stuff. I'm out here having fun and looking into stuff. But however, it is getting a little sticky. Some of these topics that we're talking about, and so we can just use that extra protection for everybody. So I'm covering all you guys with all my love and light, and so y'all send it back if you can, to both Barry and I, and to everyone that I have on all my shows, and everybody at Spaced Out Radio, Texas Front Porch, everything that I do. We're all a big family here, and so let's all look out for each other. Because really, ultimately, we just want to know the truth. And bit by bit, piece by piece, we're kind of putting puzzles together, and we're kind of uncovering some uncomfortable truths. Yeah, Barry.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the comments. I mean, there's such a good chat going on in here. Thank you to everybody. So many people. Somebody asked me about a zero atmosphere chair. No, but I've been on board a craft to where there was some type of a device that was inside of a vacuum, and I think inside the vacuum was zero point energy. They're using something similar to the Casimir effect, with magnetized and lidded quasi-crystals that are lit from the inside, and they're somehow harnessing that energy and doing that in the vacuum itself of zero atmosphere. Zero point energy. Yeah. 0 point energy anyway, I believe is what it was.
Oh, I've
got illustrations of that on my channel.
You do, yeah. Cryptid, thank you. You always have great comments. I appreciate you being here with your dark humor. I love it.
Really intelligent comment going on over here. I'm very impressed. It's super cool. You got a great audience.
Amy, thank you. Listen, I have a team of remote viewers that will always find me. They'll know what happened to me. Listen, I got the best in the business on my side, so we're good. And for whatever reason, sometimes I feel like maybe that's why I'm able to get these messages out, because I do have so much protection around me and a good team, a good support team, and we're all in this together. Okay. And like I said, it's not my job to like expose the government or whatever, that's not my mission. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to just share my energy with everybody and a little bit of what I know. So who would have thought looking for orbs on a mountain would turn into something more sinister?
I mean, it's some good, really cool. The shows I've done with you, really cool information's come out of some of this.
Yeah.
I mean, although some of it is dark and negative in that way, but other things, just as far as informational wise and removing the veil, it's been really,
Yeah.
really good. Like even Mel's Hole, I'm probably gonna do, if I get to do videos again, I'll do another one over Mel's Hole. Has your data specifically said that was a Tipler cylinder. That's something I know what it is, but I never thought that that's actually what this hole was. It makes so much sense. So it's things like that is really cool. And it takes, I think, psychic ability and remote viewing along with facts and conspiracy, and it's kind of making a tapestry with it, one that makes sense, So that's really cool.
It is.
That's why I keep doing this with you, because I keep learning stuff and it reveals stuff. I think it's really important,
Well, let me tell you. Okay, so this past week, or about a week or so ago, you asked me to do a blind target for you that you gave me, and we're not gonna expose it tonight because maybe we can do a show on it sometime. But that was really cool, right? Because I didn't know what is blind. I had no idea what it was, and I sent you a message. I was like, "Does this have something to do with blah blah blah?" And you were like, "Yes." Right? So promise me we can do a show on that one day. It had something to do with the sun.
I love to. Right? I think that will really blow people away. We're probably really get, Jessica, we're probably really get in trouble for that one.
I mean,
that's really blowing the lid off some stuff, man. Really.
Yes. Yes. Well, listen, we're here to do it. We're already out there. We might as well just put it out there. It has to do with portals and something else. So yeah, I say let's do it. Well, maybe
I gave you that target. I was hoping you'd say, "Hey Barry, it's not even real." Oh, that didn't work. I really hoped you say, "Oh, it's not even real."
Oh no, I picked up on exactly what it was right away. Yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of very interesting shows in January. I'm gonna do at least one more show this year. We got one show next week. I'm going to be remote viewing Cindy Goodbreak's property. She's part of Sasquatch Sisters with our friend Tanya and Angelique, who was on my show on Space Out Radio last weekend. And I'm remote viewing her property. She's going to come on next week on Thursday night, and I'm going to reveal all my data to her. She has Dogman, Sasquatch, UFOs, all that stuff going on, portals. I don't know. I'm not going to expose it all yet, but we're gonna talk about that next week. So, and my next show for the remote viewing stuff will probably be in January. So hopefully, Barry, you and I can talk about that target you gave me, and it may or may not have something to do with our government and our military too. So we have to be careful with that one. But
real careful, yeah. I don't say that much because I don't go down the conspiracy rabbit hole too much. But some of this is forcing me or anyone to that's logical,
Yeah.
If I was Spock, I would say it's very logical.
Yes. Susie B, thank you so much for that super chat or super sticker. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that very much. So that means the world to me. Yes.
We'll give a shout out to a few people too, like Donna Spencer. Hello, Donna, and hello to Brown Dwarf. Yeah, Donna Spencer has been following me for a while. Always comments, and it's really helpful. So thank you.
Oh, I love Donna. Yeah, she's had a lot of really cool experiences. I would love to have you on my show, Donna. Anytime. You let me know when you're ready. I'll bring you on. She's actually worked in hospitals, I believe, and things like that. So.
The playground for the earthbound spirits. Oh
gosh, I know.
I view hospitals the whole other way now. I've always been since 1978. I've been a fan of General Hospital, and it's like, man, but if I ever got sick, that's the last hospital I'd ever want to go to, man. You'd not make it out of that place. But in reality, with dealing with earthbound spirits, though, it's like, man, the hospitals are like the chicken coop.
Yeah. I don't take you as a soap opera watcher, Barry.
Well, I don't watch it anymore, of course, but I used to, like, until a few
Days of
years
our
ago.
lives much? Yeah.
I watched Dynasty
That's
back in the
awesome.
80s too. I used to watch the nighttime soaps. The
Oh my
Dynasty, oh yeah,
God.
throw that
So
one
funny.
up. Right along with Spaceballs and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, you
Oh,
know. Anyway,
great movie. Great movie. Oh no. Hold
oh
on.
man,
I gotta block some bots up in here real quick, Barry. Hold on one second. Come
Straw
on, bot.
Dog. It's just
Good
very
try.
limited on Facebook. It's not very cool,
Good
but
try, sex bots. You guys don't win. It's been a really weird day today. You guys can go away, please. Okay. All
oh
right.
man.
We're good.
I
I'm
mean,
on my
I get
phone.
that a lot on Twitter. What happened to Twitter? Twitter's like a porn shop now. What the
I
heck,
don't
man?
know. I don't know what's going on here. And Amy, thank you so much for your super sticker too. You're so sweet. Oh my gosh. I have the best audience, Barry. Thank y'all so much tonight. Craig, Amy, Susie, y'all are the best. Seriously, everybody's the best.
They are.
And thank
They
you
are.
for
They're
bearing
really
with us tonight, with me being on my phone and like not being on. I actually like my phone better than my computer, I think. So this is gonna work out great. Yes. Um, but yeah, this has been an awesome show. Hold on, pull it. It's been an awesome show, and I just talking about getting the proverbial knock at my door. I've already had one. I've already had it. Okay, so I still have to be a little bit careful about all this, but until I get listen, if I just like my channel gets shut down one day, y'all know what happened. Y'all know what happened. But yeah, I really do enjoy this, Barry. Thank you for coming along this crazy ride with
oh,
me.
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And
Space
also,
Cadet Lottie, thank you. I appreciate your thoughts earlier. Definitely.
oh
A lot
yeah,
of cool people. They're saying really nice stuff. I'm just catching it every
yes.
now and again. And I'm seeing the sex bot you're saying now. I get it now. Okay. Jeez, that just came out of nowhere. What the heck?
Well, it's okay.
Anyway,
Well, they
just
actually I was on Brunch with Bigfoot with Rob today, and they came up on his show too. So they're in full effect. They're in full swing. It's okay. They need love too. It's fine, but they got
hey,
blocks.
what do you think about that video I tagged you in with the
It
Sasquatch
looked
on the boat?
there was a Sasquatch on an island or something. It looked legit. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think
I
the thing?
reviewed it.
Well, the thing just that got me was its body ratios seem somewhat like what Thinker Thunker would talk about.
Like
To see,
Patty.
I mean, what
Yeah.
I could see, yeah, the body ratio, the long arms, and the the torso was much longer than the legs. It looked rather odd to me, So I could be wrong. Of course, I'm no expert on CGI or any of that, but I thought it was cool food for thought, if nothing else. That's on Facebook. Anybody that follows my Facebook, it's when a couple of posts I put down has Rob, Jessica, and a few others in it. It's just a 30-second video, but it's interesting.
Yes, yes. Oh, and Heather, yes, I want to remote view the Manatee Caves up in, I think it's in Kentucky. I would love. I'm going to remote view those because I know you've mentioned that a couple of times. So I'm gonna work on that too. I need to make a list for next year. Yeah, I've got one more remote viewing show I'm going to do next week, and then we're done for this year, and then I'll come back in January. We're gonna come out hard in January, man. We're gonna have some bangers. It's gonna be great, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So, and Barry, I hope you join me.
Hey, thank you, Space Lottie. I've never heard of Manatee Caves. I'm gonna look it up when we get off here.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it either. So, and I don't like knowing a whole lot before. I don't need to know that before I remote view it and all that kind of stuff. So keep it to yourself, okay? Don't tell me. But yes, but Heather has recommended that I suggested that I do that one a couple of times. So I'm definitely going to. Okay, and so I guess this is going to be, we're going to call this a night tonight. And Barry, thank you so much again for being here. Thank you for everybody in chat for all the super chat, super stickers. I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. This could have been a really crappy day. It about halfway through my day today, I was like, this day kind of, I never say this day sucks, but like things started getting wonky. Okay. But everything is perfect. It's the way it is supposed to be. we're all protected, directed, and guided by the light. And you guys just made my night. So thank you to everybody that's watching tonight. And thank you to my mom and my grandmother for meeting me tonight and getting to hang out with y'all. So thanks, Mom. I know Mom's in the chat. I saw her. But anyways, okay, everybody. I will see you guys this weekend. I have Spaced Out Radio on Saturday night. I have Marco Polo from New Zealand. He has multi-dimensional Sasquatch experiences. And I met him through Grant Cameron. If you guys know White House UFO, Grant Cameron, they're friends. So I got him on Saturday night. And
yeah, I've interviewed with him before. He's a nice guy.
Oh, good.
New Zealand. He's real cool. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to have fun Saturday. And then Sunday, I have Fred Roll from Alaska, subarctic Alaska Sasquatch, coming back on. This is going to be his third visit on Spaced Out Radio with me. And we're going to be talking about little people in Alaska Sasquatch. He's had a whole lot of experience out there with both. So it's going to be a lot of fun, y'all. And so, Barry, where can people find you? I think I have a banner here. Pull up.
A lot of little people activity in Oklahoma too.
Really?
I'm on Barry Littleton on Facebook and on YouTube. Do a lot of stuff on YouTube, and Barry Littleton on Patreon also. Sadly, I don't have any cool names, but can always use more subscribers on YouTube to help beat that shadow banning thing and trying to change the algorithm. But otherwise, that's where you can find me. I'm also at barrylittleton.com, but that website needs help. Don't do much there.
Absolutely. And everyone, if you're looking for a really cool gift, go to my War Woman Goods shop on Etsy. It's all one word smushed together. And I'm having a big sale there. And I just made some really beautiful crystal bracelets that are on my Instagram page. You guys can shoot me a DM. They're like $33 for each one. It includes shipping in the United States. And I will mail that to you, and you can give it away as a gift or wear it yourself. Super high vibe, lots of beautiful crystals and stones. So you guys go check those out. And also the Brown Mountain Lights. I found this website, brownmountainlights.com. If you guys want to look into the Brown Mountain Lights, y'all go there. They've been doing a lot of research on those things. Okay. So yeah. Well, I just love everybody in chat. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I think we kind of got to the bottom of these Brown Mountain Lights. We got to the bottom of the mountain, that's for sure. And we see a little bit more going on behind the scenes. So everyone have a beautiful night. I'm going to try to take us out of here on my phone tonight. And I will see you guys on Saturday. Barry, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time.
Thank you to your audience too. Thank you.
Awesome. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you this weekend. Bye, y'all.